Sami message here ahwefo na yada mo asenso. Na if you want to make sure you right Minister of Agric. Like I said, Niema Oyeno ministry hono is unprecedented in the history of this country. And he deserves praises. And I say I was here born abaso. But Niema every step he took under that ministry, is more or less a record, unprecedented. Any policy be or the baby being called or agree call. Mekaisa could you about a kind of some could say, Wama ministry had is a community as a Swamano. Erikopoku is the only agri minister to me. As Sebi, what handle ministry now? It's just one president say you are say I don't saying, but I'm Republican. Just said no home come on, but I still stand there to say he's the incoming president or next incoming president. We go contest in the Obeba. Nti amanfo nyina ye duru nso a na nyuma pa ne nsema ye beka fa no NDC fo na Ghana fo nyina begina tum. You see something? President Mahama, a caller just made a statement. That's where I'm starting from. Or see ye nyane su nipa o Ghana biom, then that's a fact. We Kwame Nkrumah. That's a complete fact. And in Africa, we can only compare somebody to President Mahama, people like Mandela, Mugabe, and Gaddafi, because AU summit no, it's not easy to look in the faces of these people, abrofono, and not from so beho muni akano krachre no, ko broni hunu zano, ono kra nya atwum chen bibini. So he broni nim kano krachre na, he feels very uncomfortable. Until so steady during his presentation, the room was totally quiet, and all ears was critically listened to the man. This is somebody who presented his speech without any paper or flow here, without going through any paper. That makes President Mahama outstanding. That makes President Mahama so special. That makes President Mahama unique. That makes him outstanding in this country in Africa after Kwame Nkrumah, the likes of Mandela and Mohammed. And you see, something? He even took us through history. He's currently the only leader of Hebrew for him. Catch him say, "Monya and Funa Mudino." One friend and Toma. Or catch him say, "Nekosu Gaza." Ompe and yet, or can you create Munina? He was bold to look into the faces of these white people. And Momu said, "The next future, we are say Ankasano. The next future, no, all rely or depend on Africans." And Ochomo said, very soon we are going to have over hundreds of millions of youth from the Africa because it was true. President Mahama says I use some no chromo started. They started with only 4 countries. 4 countries in Ukraine. At a point in the 3. 4 countries was 3. I think Ethiopia, Liberia,
South Africa,
and then South Africa, China, Egypt, Ebeka. And this is another historic statement because we no catch almost say. More yes, I say 4 countries in the start here. But now we are seeing no then one Africa. Mumu bi wo ho a na mu complaining say mo pese betina mu krum yenko ekrum no. Sa number 5 ye siesie mu krum am no de mo si mu hia bi menko. And he cautioned the international world said the way we treat Africa and African leaders is bad. I stand to be corrected. Say, that's why I also correct man. I think one of the countries where they denied them visa coming to the Palestinian. Exactly. Thanks for that. Or condemn it. It was wrong. And look at the way he presented. One, wati Ghana him, wati Africa him. One kasa chere abimani we are seeing and say, no, so. And this is not the first time President Mahama has been bold to look into the eyes of the international world and tell them straight in their faces. Say, where we are more than. And this is what we call a leader, a remarkable leader, a very outstanding leader. Okasa said, this is wisdom speaking. They had the way Omo Helino. President Mahama Kasama, TV now, you are proud to be a Ghanaian, or you are proud to say, yes, that's my president. Because he lifted the image of Ghana and Africa very high. He's another person who was just bold to say it. Or he just punchy at the end of or boss straight. And I recommend just I don't know, I'm sure the way I love President Mahama. He has proven say yes, he's a true Ghanaian, true African, and a good communicator. Canada ne ko jina anka be hu on country say swimming pool nation no mu say they want to look at how this man akasa
mado nyama no be jina do president Mahama yi no kokon kanu nyina si. And I was like, yes, we are being well represented at the world stage. Sabi President Mahama okwekoye even ye obi a offer a luxurious private jet no do kwai so okwe no onya plane mu dware ode ni nyina na okosi ase no so okode wase nti wo poti na ne mbra so no na onya de tra na orkan konkonsa obi e chiri no na orokochuk ya ye neighbors Burkina Faso mo be create another issue with Russia and Burkina Faso
instead of speaking to issues,
instead of addressing the everyday issues that the people of Africa and beyond are facing. So now I say, you a better rep. Now I can travel and say, did you hear my president at the UN Assembly? How he addressed the people? And you know, in my travel in Africa, normally, no, people talk about your president. People address issues about president, and you talk about the ratings of your president among other presidents. And I think there, President Mahama, Debi Ameka, and I don't say this with anything else. On Friday Ameka the masam. There, say if President Mahama onya abuafu dem we nya na wo kodwo bona, he will go political parties. Because people will feel that no, if we have somebody who represents us well, why don't we let this person continue to lead us to the promised land? Because you see, we need to confront the issues at the world stage. This is the man who is talking about reset in his country, and has decided that no, there is something going on at the global stage that also need a reset.
Reset, yeah, he mentioned it.
And he spoke directly to it.
He told them straight in the face.
And we feel that the posture of these African leaders now, if you're Ruto Sumes, one day, he will lead other African leaders to walk out of the UN if they refuse to give them a permanent seat at the Security Council.
Yeah, Security Council.
I feel that all these things, you know, it's in good direction.
Why not?
It's in good direction. Sami mama we are free there. Ghana na lead the other African countries in terms of the fight of independence. It's when you get another president like President John Dramani Mahama. No so orekasa no all my regime were Africans mu in my other African leaders, because the way he spoke, I'm sure will embolden other African leaders to come out. Because we've enslaved ourselves for too long. Inti Sami, if you are in opposition, na se wuli da kakasa on this stage, na se ye da e botwetwe na ase na emfa enyizi mma na embufu echira, ochira na se etukwanya, e ba de na ebeka, obi so de fin fa ba de na ebeka. E ba sam na ebeka. So sometimes we need to put our partisanship aside. Let's look at and I hear president or when someone can, because Matty other school of thought what can the president shouldn't have said this or be create a problem with the US and and one of the critical things the US themselves represent is democracy. And they believe in people being bold to speak their mind. In fact, they have a president no our running stomach. You cannot tell what Trump will say in the next second. And he says it as it is. And you are expecting that our president should go and be scared and not say things as it is. What sort of hypocrisy is this? And I believe that even Trump himself will be very impressed with President Mahama. That he hit the nail right on the head. And you couldn't have said this anywhere else than at the UN Assembly in New York. Where else were you going to say this? He got the right platform and he said the right things. Sammy, beyond what he said, physically, now Fasu or Faye represented us well as Ghanaians.
And then the backdrop of a UN General Assembly, no, podium
they represented us very, very well. And I think there, in coffee I share so was suits and now on my opinion, fa Ghana Fusua, also Chre or Manono, our rich culture. And I can imagine how many people now will feel proud because if people want to come back Ghana watching Fugu, or come to me because how we will communicate it. Now you see this at the global stage, and this man is making sense. So you will want to identify. It will make people proud to wear their Fugu in town. And you know what it will mean to the business, local businesses? One of the key things on Mami Fugu was Kwame Nkrumah. And President John Dramani Mahama na Bredo, first term, you saw how a chino in a krom crampa Fugu or friend Mahama, Fugu or friend Lodina. Because they intentionally promoted the local economy through their what they were. And in President President Mahama's speech, in President Mahama. President Mahama has been a leader who takes effort to do things himself. Until no one will be the Bible toward or in fact. And you see, Sammy, in my actual speech, I write speech for people. I am the special aide to the international president of Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. I write speech for him. When I write a speech and he influences the speech and he's reading it, me teach na move there or don't watch a speech. When I write a speech and he doesn't go through it and he goes to read it, I could tell that he's just reading and it's not really in the speech. President Mahama knew what he was saying. So it's not about who wrote his speech. President Mahama Nankasa, he knew and understood what he was saying. He was speaking from his heart and soul. If you like, watch him. He knew at every point what gesture to make to drum home what he was saying. He understood it. I don't know until the subject answer or because in Kofa became Gunasu don't come. And even locally, when he meets the press, this is a president who is on his feet, who understands every issue at every sector, and is able to speak to it. Like him or him. But when it comes to certain things that the man does, we should be proud of it. And Yenjina don't sell Ghana. Because, Sammy, at the end of the day, look outside Ghana, I don't represent GCPP. Me for GCPP in Kwaje fans were breached. Me the Ghana din na made fans. Nobody will know your NDC or your MPP or CPP or GCPP or PNC when you cross the borders. Okay. They will ask which country do you represent.